In what could be a British record transfer, Chelsea and Newcastle have begun preliminary negotiations to acquire Alexander Isak. However, sources have informed TeamTalk that the proposed move is already experiencing difficulties. The Blues are desperate to acquire at least one new striker this summer, and possibly two, in order to acquire the firepower that, in the opinion of many, will be the missing piece of the Chelsea puzzle in the upcoming season. The team under Mauricio Pochettino had a lot of creative players, and they probably only needed one good striker to have a much better season. As a result, the search for a new number 9 this summer has already begun, and new manager Enzo Maresca has delegated the transfer process to Paul Winstanley and Bedad Igbali. And keeping in mind that any semblance of Ivan Toney, Victor Osimhen and Victor Gyökeres have all been taken a gander at as choices, the Blues have now made Newcastle superstar Isak their number one objective. According to journalist Craig Hope, the clubs have already held talks about a possible deal for Isak, and the Blues are willing to pay what would be a British record fee for the Sweden striker. The way things are, Chelsea have marked the main two most costly players in English history with their £106.9 million acquisition of Enzo Fernandez in January 2023, beaten around a half year after the fact by the £115 million arrangement to prize Moises Caicedo away from Brighton. The Sweden striker signed with St James's Park in summer 2022 for a club record £63 million from Newcastle. Even though Isak's first season was marred by a number of frustrating injuries, he still scored 10 goals in 27 games. In any case, an enormously productive 2023-24 mission saw the 24-year-old net multiple times in 40 appearances, taking his general count to 35 objectives in 67 appearances, better than an objective each and every other game. Subsequently, Isak has found himself the subject of extreme hypothesis this late spring, with stockpile additionally among his admirers. Isak, on the other hand, was always regarded as the one player deemed untouchable, despite the fact that Newcastle may need to consider a large-scale sale to help fund their own summer business and remain in compliance with the FFP regulations of the Premier League. According to a report by Spanish outlet Fitches, Julio Enciso is the subject of interest from Chelsea. The Blues are scouring the market for a versatile attacker heading into the summer transfer window. And they are closely monitoring the progress of 20-year-old Brighton and Hove Albion forward at Copa America 2024. Julio Enciso has made considerable progress since joining Brighton and Hove Albion from Club Libertad in July 2022. A native of Carguazu, he spent his formative years in his homeland before arriving in England 2 years ago. Since then, he has become the latest masterful signing from Brighton to go under the radar when he moved to the Amex Stadium. The 20-year-old has struggled with a few fitness issues in the last 2 years but has produced impressive performances whenever he has taken the field. However, Enciso managed only 590 minutes of game time across 15 appearances for Brighton and Hove Albion in the 2023-24 season, chipping in with 2 assists. Julio Enciso's progress, irrespective of his fitness situation, has not gone unnoticed, capturing the attention of several high-profile clubs across Europe. A move across the Premier League might be on the cards, with recent reports linking him with Manchester City. The Paraguayan international has now emerged as a target for Chelsea. Chelsea's interest in Julio Enciso is understandable. The Blues are scouring the market for a versatile attacker heading into the summer transfer window amid the inconsistent displays of Raheem Sterling and Mykhailo Mudryk. So, several candidates, including Ademola Lookman, have emerged on Chelsea's radar. Enciso is also a viable target, with Chelsea keeping tabs on his progress at the 2024 Copa America. Meanwhile, the report claims that the Paraguayan international might see Brighton and Hove Albion's asking price increase to €60 million if he makes his mark at the Copa America. It is unclear if Chelsea will be ready to cough up €60 million to secure Julio Enciso's services in the summer transfer window. The valuation is seemingly fair if he fulfills his potential in the coming years. It will be interesting to see if the Blues launch the offensive to sign the 20-year-old from fellow Premier League club Brighton and Hove Albion. Enzo Maresca is set to be the 4th permanent manager at Stamford Bridge in the new era at Chelsea. The Italian was the candidate selected to replace Mauricio Pochettino, who only lasted 1 full season at the helm. The boss when Todd Boehly and co. took over was Thomas Tuchel, who was just 1 year on from winning the Champions League with the Blues. Despite the large spending spree they underwent in the summer transfer window, it took just a few games before the German was sacked by the club. The likes of Raheem Sterling, Marc Cucurella, Kalidou Koulibaly and Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang came in for big money, however failed to make the impact many hoped in their first seasons at the club. Journalist Liam Twomey has claimed on the Athletics podcast that there is major regret over how they gave the manager at the time so much control over who came into the club. He said, "There is still considerable regrets among the ownership that they allowed Thomas Tuchel too much influence over the business they did in summer of 2022 when they came in. It seemed as if there was a disagreement between Pochettino and the chiefs at the club over the future of Conor Gallagher, with the Argentine making it clear that he wanted the midfielder to remain and be a key player at the club. However, the party line is that the homegrown star is available for the right price this summer if a club comes in for him, as he enters the last year of his contract at Stamford Bridge. It seems as if this was a point of dispute that was too much for both parties to recover from, leading to Pochettino leaving the club by mutual consent. Finally, Cole Palmer has been given his first appearance at this summer's Euros tournament. He replaced Bukayo Saka on the right wing in the 71st minute of England's draw against Slovenia on Tuesday night. England yet again lacked a ruthlessness going forward during the 0-0 stalemate with Slovenia, albeit the result was enough to secure a top spot in Group C. In fact, Gareth Southgate's side only scored 2 goals in their 3 group stage matches. If you are looking for positives for the Three Lions, the substitution of Palmer is certainly one. Chelsea's versatile attacker injected a threat going forward with his type of passing and general intent. Romeo Lavia's debut season at Chelsea did not go to plan. The midfielder got a big move to Chelsea last summer, joining from Southampton in a £58 million deal. However, unfortunately for Romeo Lavia, he was limited to just a single appearance because of injury. The Blues also had a disappointing campaign as a whole after missing out on Champions League qualification again. Things could be different for Lavia and his teammates under Enzo Maresca, though. Lavia did not get a pre-season with Chelsea last summer after joining the club in the latter part of August. Things should be different this time around, though, with journalist Simon Phillips hearing that the 20-year-old is now in top condition after all of his injury problems. On his Substack, he wrote, "He spent much of last season out injured, but SPTC sources have heard from his camp that he will be ready for pre-season and is in top condition ahead of the new season. He is hopeful to be able to stay fully fit to be that important player that Enzo Maresca sees him as part of his new setup he is building tactically." Lavia was not the only Chelsea player who struggled with injuries last season. There were so many others, including captain Reece James, Ben Chilwell and Christopher Nkunku. None of those players, as well as Lavia, have gone to the Euros. It means they can all rest before hopefully having a strong pre-season.